All right, my lovelies, let's move on to Leo. I am excited for your reading. I can feel the energy already. And the avatar of the Leo is the shapeshifter. So you have the ability to hold that frequency on a mastery level of 963 and be able to shift through different experiences, identities. Well, we'll hold it there because I'm sure you could be really creative in where in your life you are able to use the shapeshifter in order to achieve a level of mastery in that frequency of 963. Let's go ahead and start your reading. So, we're going to start in the first place, which is where you're holding awareness within yourself right now. So, what I'm getting with this card is that you're starting to tap into an awareness. And right now, it may be more through a thought. Like a lot of times when we have awareness come in, we first are kind of processing it intellectually, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually a good thing because you want to fully see the program all the way through. And so, we're going to do that on some level with the intellect or through our programming because by the time we see it all the way through with our programming, we're able to shift it beyond that. So with this, I'm seeing that you're becoming aware of like how you're connecting with others or how you're communicating with others. And you're just starting to kind of step back and really process where it's serving you and where it's not. So this could be in a relationship. You may be starting to see relationships that just aren't really serving you anymore. Or you may be seeing ways that you're showing up in communication that isn't necessarily serving you. So, meaning, am I communicating through my truth or am I communicating through my programming? And you're just starting to be aware of it. It's not that you're judging anything is good or bad. You're just starting to see, okay, this is serving me and this isn't. Another thing that's coming to me right now is it's kind of seeing in your life that no matter how many times you show up and are holding space for it to be different, it keeps repeating. That's what this card is showing me. It's like you're starting to be aware of, like, okay, no matter how I show up in this situation, it's always the same. So maybe it means that I need to step back and put my energy somewhere else so that I'm not consistently looping. And I could see this in a relationship where you're just always showing up with the highest intentions. And then by the time you're walking away, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's still the same. And it may just be time for you to choose something different for a little while, right? And I don't know who this is for, but if it's resonating, let me know in the comments. If it's not, maybe this isn't for you, or maybe you can see somewhere else in your life. Maybe it's not another person. Maybe it's no matter how many times you start a project, you always end up back in the same space. And all this is showing is that you're just starting to be aware of it. It doesn't even mean you have to do anything about it right now. It's just that you're starting to be aware of these things. So the DMT code, and I love this for you, that's going with this is the 11. So as you're showing up with the willingness to be aware of where things aren't serving you, you're moving into a higher state of consciousness around that awareness, because that's the most powerful thing of awareness, right? Is that once we're aware of something, we create choice. And if we're doing it in a way that is ascending us, when we are creating a choice, it's an opportunity to move into that fourth level of consciousness. I'll put that link below in the show notes. With that, you are truly stepping into a place where you're using reality as a reflection that brings you into a higher state of consciousness. That is amazing. I'm so proud of you. All right, let's go ahead and move into what is exactly being reflected back to you. So, this is what you're aware of. This is what the universe, this is what reality, this is what you're programming, this is what other people, however you want to see it, this is the reflection of you doing this. And that is that you're, you know, I think this is really interesting because both of these cards are a lot about thinking, right? So you're still in this place where you're just, that awareness is coming in. And because you're starting to be aware of the things that aren't necessarily serving you, people are starting to see that you're thinking differently, that you're perceiving differently. And that's going to show up in different spaces, of course, but also, even this, if this is just within yourself, you're noticing that you're thinking differently because you're willing to see where things that aren't serving you, and these could literally be thoughts, right? This could just be, you know what? I always think that I'm this. What if I thought I was something else? What would change? And now you're starting to be like, wow, because I was aware of that and I decided to think in a different way, I'm actually thinking differently. That's all these are saying. So, whether this is another person or it's within yourself, this is amazing because this is the first level of change, right? Let's go ahead and pull your code. Oh my gosh. So, yes. So, you're noticing, it's like it's that awakening, right? It's going from that first level of consciousness of just being unconscious to opening yourself up to like, okay, I know that there's parts of my life that I'm unconscious. Where do I need to pay attention? Where do I need to, what do I need? And that's going to be this one, but what do I need to see that I'm not seeing? And this is just like actively what you're practicing right now. And by doing that, you start to master what it is to see in the illusion. And that's what people are starting to see in you, is that you're seeing through the BS, right? You can see through the BS pretty quickly because you're noticing if you have a frequency shift. And when that frequency shift, you're stepping back and you're like, ooh, there was a frequency shift. What is it that I need to see here? What is reflecting back to me? Can I hold consciousness outside of what's happening so that I can see it up in a place where I'm not judging it as good or bad. I'm just receiving it as information. And in that, I am starting to think differently, and people are noticing because I'm not accepting the BS anymore. I'm not saying yes to, how do they say it? Oh, it's not coming to me, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's, you're able to see through the BS. You're able to see through the smoke and mirrors would be another one, right? It's like you're not going to be, you're not going to be easily manipulated. And this is coming to me when I say that. You're not going to be easily manipulated by, whether this is an ad, this is a well, so this is where I'm getting, is that all of a sudden you're able to put a little bit more thought into something before you act. So you're responding. And because you're responding and not reacting, that manipulation that can happen around a triggered emotion is going away. And this is evident in your life. You are no longer being manipulated through emotion. All right, so now what, oh my gosh, who else had this one? I can't remember. I think it might have been maybe Gemini. All right, so you are getting, this place on the evolution symbol is what you're not seeing. So it is bringing awareness to something that you weren't aware of before. Okay, so just knowing what we have done here. So, what happens when you get to that place where you realize, okay, I'm seeing what's not serving me. I'm willing to start to think differently and show up differently. And in that, I notice I start to think differently, which allows me not to necessarily respond emotionally, but then I'm in this place where it's like, what am I responding to? And this is the total reset. This is that place where it's so powerful when you realize you are in, you are the one, right? Like you are the one that is totally responsible for yourself. It's like that place where there's no more blaming, there's no more judging, there's no more pushing off a responsibility. It's not, even if this was like something that you're experiencing in life, it's like, oh, well, I can't do this until this happens. And I'm not saying that there's going to be times where you're supposed to wait for a certain thing to come into your life before you move something into manifesting, but you're not doing that from a place of victimhood. This is saying it is time to no longer be a victim of your own programming, that your programming is running in you because you're allowing it. If you have the ability to see your own viruses and you have the ability to move thought beyond those viruses, and you can see through the smoking mirror, like this is the able to see like those looping cycles that you're carrying around and choosing not to do it anymore. And in that, you move into this completely new space, right? You move into this space where you're so focused on what's beyond that. And what's trying to be shown is that that is your focus. No more distractions. Distractions are no longer serving you. What I'm hearing is that you need to get to a place where you're aware of where you're using distraction in order to stay small, that you're using distraction in order not to change. You're using distraction because you're seeing it, but then you're not choosing it. So or you're choosing it and then you're letting yourself get distracted. So what's the awareness place is this? I want you to be really honest because this is huge, you guys. This awareness piece is so big. Where do I know that I need to create change? And I am using distraction in order to keep myself stuck. An example of this would be, I know that I'm supposed to start writing a book, but the dishes need to be done. I know that I'm supposed to have a conversation with somebody that I'm close with, but they're probably busy right now. Like, where are you using distraction, excuses to keep yourself stuck? It's time to master. It's mastering the awareness of just that, right? That you're choosing to be aware of those interferences that you're creating within yourself with that distraction, and being willing to do it anyways. It's like, okay, I'm supposed to write a book, but the dishes need to be done. I'm going to write for an hour and then I'm going to go do the dishes. I know I need to have this conversation, but they're probably busy. I'm going to go ahead and make that phone call. And if they are, I'll leave a message. Okay. So now we're going to move into the space. So you have all the information that you need in order to create a big change, to move into a higher frequency, right? To move into a new space, new form, new reality outside of your programming. And this is how you can co-create with the intelligence of your DNA, with source intelligence, in order to hold consciousness outside of your programming. Okay, so you're getting mastery level of the 8. I love this card. I mean, just look at this card. And if you're just listening to this on the podcast, then I would maybe jump over to YouTube and also experience the readings when you're actually looking at the cards, because it just takes it to another level. All right. Co-creation, mastery level of the 8. The image that it just came to me was you're just you're just like you're jumping in, right? And you don't know necessarily what you're jumping into, but you're going to do it. You do it anyways. And what I mean by that is that you're just ready to surrender. It's like you don't have to have all the answers in order to be okay. You don't have to have all the answers in order to be in your mastery. It's like being in a mastery is actually being in a frequency. And in that frequency, everything changes. And that's what I'm getting here is just ask for that frequency to be turned on and then start to explore what that is consciously, because in the frequency, everything is different than when you're outside of the frequency. And that's what this card is saying is just let yourself fully immerse into the vibration of 963. Let your body experience what that is. And then allow yourself to consciously explore in your life what that is. And so, like the image that's coming to me is you're jumping in and then you're kind of like laying back. And let's say you're in a river and the river's just kind of taking you along. And as it's taking you along, you're looking up at the sky and you're seeing like the trees pass you, there's clouds, there might be some animals on the side, and you don't necessarily know what's in front of you, but you feel safe. And you're not, how am I saying this? I just feel a level of freedom in this, and I'm not explaining it in the best way. I'm going to let go of that image and I'm going to come back to the co-creation or the support is letting yourself surrender to the frequency of 963 and then exploring what that even is for you and knowing that it's always going to change. The other image that I'm getting is, let's say you have pain in your body and you're experiencing the pain, you're naming the pain, you're describing the pain, whatever the thoughts are that are coming with it. And you surrender into the pain and you allow the intelligence to show you what's beyond that, right? Because this is the thing. You are already quantum. Your body is already quantum. Where you're holding consciousness is the experience of your body. And you can put reality here. I don't care what you want to put on the other side. I'm using the example of your body. So when you consciously surrender, to knowing that this is an illusion, right? This is an illusion because if I'm in observation through my programming and I'm naming an experience, I am in the illusion of that experience. If you're in observation, you have some sort of illusion that you are experiencing. So I am aware of that. So what's beyond it? And then surrendering, saying, okay, this is my experience, but I'm going to let that go. And I'm going to ask the intelligence of source to awaken my body so that I can have the experience of what's beyond my experience now. And then I'm going to choose to experience something different. And this is beyond thought. This is a state of consciousness where you're attuning. So, one, you can change your mindset, right? This is more what this is. Now, what's being asked of you is that you change your state of consciousness. Because consciousness, when we're using it as the tool that it is the ability to attune to an intelligence beyond your programming. That's what this card is asking of you. And when you're asking to attune to a reality beyond what you can understand, you are co-creating with the intelligence within you. Okay, it took a long time to get there. I'm sorry. All right. And in that, you create a new experience, a new foundation, a new way of existing in form, right? So going back to pain is like all of a sudden you're holding consciousness in a frequency that is so solid that you don't even remember what it was like to be in pain because you're holding consciousness in a frequency that pain doesn't exist. Put whatever you want to put there. So whatever you're thinking that about what is this for me? I hope by now you're kind of able to find where in your life that you need to be paying attention to right now. So you changed your mindset. You're able to see through the illusion. You're able to reset in a space of mastering. I can actually overcome my own programming through spiritual discipline to step into the mastery of attuning to that place where I can actually surrender into a state of intelligence using my consciousness as the tool to create a new reality. All right. Particle is a possibility. So when you actively do this, you are moving into the possibility of what is trying to come in for you in 2024, January of 2024. All right, so the 9, and you're in the mastery level of the 9. And look at this, look, it's going this way and then it's going the other way. So it's truly this place of where I'm putting my focus, where you are putting your focus in that space of choosing to see beyond the illusion or knowing that it is the illusion. And I don't mean knowing at this point in the mind, because it's one thing to know, okay, this is the illusion through the mind, and it's not going to really change a whole lot, right? But when we know it on a cellular level, because we consistently are asking the intelligence to be turned on a DNA level, everything changes, right? Because we are holding consciousness in our body that is holding a higher frequency. So in this, your focus is on the intelligence. It really is on the intelligence. And it's on the intelligence of source. So that awareness, how to do it, is going to bring in a higher level of focus. And what I'm hearing behind that is that within that focus, everything else, all of this stuff just fades away because you are fully focused on living your life through the intelligence that all of the distractions, all the things that no longer serve you, all of the programming, all of the density just starts to fade away because you are holding your consciousness and your focus and your awareness with that discipline in the intelligence. All right, let's do the DMT code. Okay, so this is like what I was seeing is that you get so focused on what's being created. I didn't want to quite go there because of this, but yeah. So in the particles of possibility, it's the ability to let go of the illusion and be and focus on what's being created and to the place where it's like you aren't so much in the creation that that's all you can see, right? And that's not a bad thing because in every given moment, you are the creator of that moment. And so if you're choosing to have your focus be in that space of like, everything is the illusion but the intelligence. And so whatever it is that I'm in creation of or in the moment of, that is my experience of where I'm able to hold consciousness within the intelligence in every given moment. And I'm going to choose that in the most disciplined awareness that I can achieve in each moment. That is, I'm going to say, when I say me, I'm really just speaking as you or as myself as well, because this reading is really for everyone. Um, can I choose that? And if I'm not, and I'm letting distraction come in, I need to at least be aware of it and be honest about why I'm choosing it. The distraction over focus. Okay, so now we're going to move into your probability, which is, it really is the ability to hold a new way of perspective in that you are truly starting to step on. I'm maybe another way of saying that is like to step into a new reality. And this new reality has you, I don't know, I'm getting you should go and listen to the DMT Alchemist. So that one is Cancer, I believe. Yeah, Cancer. I'm just getting you should go and listen to that reading here, and you're going to get even more out of it. Uh, so with the four, I'm just going to go ahead and do your DMT card, just get a little bit more information. Course, the 4 to the 5, right? So in that, you're just going to keep shifting, right? You're going to keep shifting. So the way I want you to see this is that when you get really focused and you're moving into that kind of master creator frequency and you're super focused on creating through the intelligence, and in that space, you see you have a couple of fours going on in here that you're every time that you're taking a step, you're stepping into a higher frequency, right? And you're there long enough that you're aware that a shift has been created. You're even aware of how you got there because you are taking every little step super consciously because that's what needs to happen in order to be a master. And in that space, your new foundation is always going to be the next step. You don't hang out in one place for too long. You're always going to the next. And so you could even say that your new foundation is change because what is it if you're not changing? You're becoming stagnant, you're creating timelines, you're in a loop, all of these different things. And now you're so aware of that, it's like almost exhausting. But eventually you get to this place where that becomes normal, right? So what used to take a lot to have awareness of your own programming and what you're choosing in those distractions and all these things I'm talking about used to be like, oh my gosh, it's so much work to hold that level of awareness. But then all of a sudden you step and you're like, oh, I am just aware. I am always changing. And it's actually really fun. I've done it enough times that this is just a new way of life. So you could do this like going to the gym. In the beginning, it's hard. And then you start wanting to go. And then you start getting stronger and you're like almost get addicted to it, right? It's like, oh, if I don't have the day at the gym, then I notice it. I don't feel as good, right? That's what this is saying, is that the more you do it, the easier it's going to get, the more you're going to enjoy it. And even though it might be work still, like you're still working out because that's what we have to do. We have to use our tool of consciousness, right? It's not going to be easy because to be conscious, you're always having to override your own programming, but it's worth it because it's so much better when we're not looping in our programming. That's what this is about. So let's code you for this. I'm just really excited for you. All right. So go ahead and shut your eyes. Let that white blue light enter your body, attuning all of your cells to the frequency of 963, just feeling your body as it instantly shifts to a higher frequency. And then we're going to activate every cell of your body, that DNA, to code 11, 9, 33, 4, 22, 5. Just feeling it upgrade your software system as your body holds the frequency of 963 with this very specific intelligence or information so that you can have the experience of what it is to see through the BS, know what it is that you need to see, choose to master that and take action beyond distraction so that you can move beyond your programming and create a new foundation for yourself. And like whatever this is related to in your life, that's up to you, right? This is a general reading. So I'm hoping that during this reading, you kind of have some ideas of what this is talking about. And I want to hear about it. So definitely comment below. And I want to hear what you're feeling by the end of January. What's changed for you? Because I have a feeling by the end of January, you're going to be holding consciousness in a space that you didn't even think possible. So let the codes work. Even go back and watch this again, maybe mid-January, and reattune, because I'm sure you'll hear something completely different. Love you guys. See you next month, if not before.